Burniston, and today's pop-up tutorial is going to be a lot of fun. First up, I'm going to teach you how to spring load your card using some springs you might just get from the hardware store. And I'm also going to teach you another fun technique, which is how you might move your folds off center in case you want to double your pop-up, which is what I'm going to do for this card. So these are some fun techniques, and it's time to get started.
Look for little tiny springs like this at your hardware store, and I like these ones because they have that little loop at the end that makes it easy to attach them. Now I'm going to use some mat board for my card, and if you don't have a big guillotine trimmer, you can still cut it on your regular slide trimmer. You just might need to do one side and then flip it over and then cut the other side, and you'll usually get a pretty clean cut that way. I love using my tiny attacher for things like this, and so I'm going to attach a spring to both sides of my square of mat board, top and bottom, just using a staple through those little outer rings that are on the spring. Now what I want to do is attach those springs to the other piece of mat board, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to overlap that second square of mat board on top of the first one just a little bit, like maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then just so I'm able to pick it up as one big set, I'll use some temporary Scotch tape just to attach the pieces together. Now you can see I can easily pick up both pieces together and staple the other side of the spring onto the other piece of mat board. And I'll do that top and bottom. Then once all my staples are on, then I'll go ahead and remove that temporary tape. And what I want to do is I want to take the two squares of mat board, and instead of having them overlap, I'm going to stretch them so that they are butted up next to each other again. What that does is it stretches the spring. So you can see if I just leave it resting, it actually caves in just a little bit. And on the inside of the card, if I put those little pieces of temporary tape back on, you'll see the really cool spring action that I get on that card. So I've decided to put 2 of my new Biggs raising platforms inside this card. So what I'll do is I'll die cut that. And then the first step with the raising platform is just to find all the folds. So it doesn't really matter which way you fold them, just go ahead and find them all so that you can see exactly where all the folds are. Now there is a full assembly video for this die, but I'll show real quickly how to put it together. A little glue dot in the triangular tab, and then if you work that little diagonal fold until you can press against the fold so that the whole side collapses down into the piece. And that's actually the same little origami fold that you use out there on the ends as well to collapse those triangles in. Add some adhesive inside, and then that label piece that comes on the die just kind of sandwiches right there into those triangular pieces, and then give everything a good press, and then you'll see how it opens. Now I need to put this on my card out towards the end to see how far over I can move my fold and still be able to hide my pop-up when the card is closed. And I can see from the center line it's about 1 3/4 inches for this particular card. So now I'm going to take a square of cardstock 6x6. I'll score it up the middle at 3 inches and make that into a little mountain fold. Then I need 2 valleys that are 1 3/4 inches away from that center fold. So I'll score it on one side. Now I can either fold that now, or I think what I'll do is I'll flip it over and do the other one at 1 3/4 inches. And then what I'm looking to do here is now back fold both sides of that piece. And then when I unfold it, you'll see that I have a mountain in the middle and 2 valleys that are 1 3/4 inches away from that mountain. Now it's time to attach this inside the card, and I'm only going to use adhesive out in those 2 outer panels so that the inside doesn't have any adhesive. But I am going to lay it nice and flat so that I can get the center fold of my cardstock right in the center fold of my mat board, and then I'll just press down those 2 outer panels. Now take a look at what happens when I fold it. That mountain's going to come inward, and then it'll be spring loaded. Now each of those 2 valley folds can now accommodate a pop-up, so I'll go ahead and add the raising platform into one of them in the usual manner, just some with the adhesive on both sides. And I am a big fan of reinforcing that connection at the bottom of that platform with a stapler. So I'll go in and get my stapler in the bottom for the right-hand side, but then I just have to make sure on the left-hand side that where I'm actually stapling is just to the cardstock, not actually through the mat board as well. So I still need that cardstock to be able to raise. So I'll just attach the platform in there to the cardstock, and you'll see how that's going to fold down and pop up. And then I'm just going to do the same exact thing in the other fold. And this time for the raising platform, I decided that I would do them opposite. So I would have the one on the left actually popping downward out of the card, and then the one on the right popping upward out of the card. So I'll just go in, same exact thing, reinforce my little bottom connections with that stapler, and then now you see what I've got when I close the card, everything collapses down, when I open it, everything pops up. Now the rest of this video is just going to show how I decorated this specific card to be a cool little birthday card for my friend Gretchen. And I did that by adding some pattern paper into all the open panels. And then what I thought I would do, since this is a birthday card, is I would stretch some banners across the two platforms. So what I'll do for that is I'll take a little 1/16 inch hole punch and just add a little hole punch on the two inside corners of my label pieces. And then I'll just use some fun baker's twine to string between them. Now, one thing that helps me a lot of times when I have those really small holes is I use a needle threader. So I'll just put my needle threader through the hole, get the end of the twine through it, and then it just pulls it right through the hole. And then just tie that to where it's pretty tight when the card is fully open. Now, remember, this tutorial is mainly to teach the techniques, which was to spring load the card and to split and move your fold. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of my decorating steps because it would take too long, but I'm going to stamp and I'm going to color and I'm going to attach some stuff to both of those platforms. So you can see where I'm at now with the decoration, but I will show how easy it is to add those little banners. I'm going to use the new flagpole, lantern, and sign making Sizzlet strip. I like to use a little toothpick just to kind of round the little area of the banner so that when I staple it on, and maybe I'm even going to use that toothpick again because I really do want that to be pretty rounded and loose. And then those banners are going to be able to kind of just find a new position as that fold down and then still hang in that nice vertical position when the card is open. Now, it might be fun just to take a spring-loaded card, put it in an envelope, and mail it to somebody so that as soon as they pull it out of the envelope, it springs open. But for this particular card for Gretchen, I thought it might be fun to add a little closure so that she could decide when it was going to spring open. So what I've done is I've taken a really pretty decorative bead and then two little crimp beads on either side of it around a piece of elastic. The crimp beads just hold the decorative bead in the center. And then I'll set that through a hole that I just punched in the side of my card using an eyelet, and that kind of traps the ends in there, and you can see how I have that little stretchy bead now. And then the front of the card, I decided just to use a square of the pattern paper and then a decorative little clip that the bead can go over the top of, and that holds it closed, and then as soon as you release it, the card is going to spring open. For more pop-up ideas and tutorials, make sure that you visit my blog, KarenBurniston.com. Thanks for watching.